different grids, place value charts, I should say, and how you do it is up to you. You guys can choose. So I'm gonna write place value chart, and I'm just going to kind of put that around it, and I can color that in later. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then I'm going to draw a line across the top of my paper. Okay. And then I'm going to draw another line just below that. And I can use my ruler and match it to the other line so it's not crooked. All right. And then these marks here on this ruler, these are centimeters. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I turn my ruler around, and depending on what ruler you use, it may have both centimeters and inches, or it may just have inches, or maybe it just has centimeters. So here's 1 inch, 2 inch, and there's roughly about 3 centimeters in 1 inch. And if you remember, I wanted you guys to go to the millionths place on both ends. And so we need to come up with roughly 6 vertical lines. And so I'm not really sure. I'm going to take a guess and say that's going to be maybe 1.5 centimeters. Maybe a little less than an inch. And let me zoom in so you guys can see this. So I'm laying this down here on my bottom line, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 centimeters. So I said 1.5. So here's 1 centimeter, and here's a half. So I'm just going to put a little mark there. Then I'm going to go 1.5 again, and put a little mark. Then I'm going to go 1.5 and put a mark. And I'm just going to keep putting these marks, and they should all be spaced 1.5 centimeters apart from one another. And again, yours don't have to be this exact width. Maybe if you just have inches, you could do maybe 3/4 of an inch. And if this is 1 inch, 3/4 would be right here. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But I just wanted to give you a rough idea on what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to turn my paper around so I can use the edge of the paper as another straight edge to make sure my line is going straight down. I'm just going to draw a line. Then I'm going to go to my next mark, and I'm going to draw another line. And my next mark, and I'm going to draw another line. And I'll do that all the way across my paper. And the lines should be parallel. They shouldn't be crooked. Some of them might be a little bit wider than others, but that's okay. All right? So I'm going to turn my paper back around. And I'm just starting to show you what it should look like. And I said I wanted you to go to the millionths place, right? So right here, and I'm using pencil. You guys, I would suggest you do this in pencil, and then you could go back over it with a black marker, maybe a fine tip marker. If you start with a marker and then make a mistake, then you may have to start completely over, and that would not be good. So I'm just going to write million. Okay? And then what would go right here? 100,000ths. What would go right here? 10,000. All right. So assuming I keep going, and let's say I eventually get to the decimal, and now I'm just going to do this freehand just to show you guys. If I had maybe I left this blank like that, what would go right here? If this was the decimal, what would go right here? Tenths. How do you spell it?
Tenths.
Tenths. Okay. Then hundredths, and then thousandths. Okay. Now here's what I wanted you to do, and that's why I had you draw two lines at the top. When we get to the right side of the decimal, I want you to show me the fraction, what it would look like. So it would be 1 over 10. This would be 1 over 100. This would be 1 over 1,000. This would be 1 over 10,000. Notice the comma I put in there. Okay? And you might have to write kind of small or make your lines a little bit bigger. You know what? Let's not worry about anything past 10,000. That's okay. Because I think if you make your lines wide enough, you'll run out of room if we went to 1,000,000 on both sides. Okay? So we can go out to 1,000,000 this way, to the right, but let's just go to 10,000. All right? So when I'm all done, and everything's in maybe a black marker, I can start, coloring the different bars, whatever color you want to use. So here's a brown. And you don't want to do it too dark, because then you won't be able to see what you have there. And I could make this the same brown, but just a little bit lighter, okay? Or I could just do a completely different color. It's up to you guys what colors you use and how you group it. Okay? And, if you want to decorate it and color the top, in some way, draw some flowers. Okay? Or if you wanted to, draw Mr. Spears. Okay? Okay? You could do that. All right? And then on this side over here, you wanted to draw Miss Powers.
You forgot the pigtails, though.
Okay? You could do that. All right. Shh. So, when you do this, shh, again, I would do in a pencil at first and do it light, and then follow up behind that with a black marker, and then color it in as you see fit. So, any questions on this? Let me end this video, and I'll answer these questions after I end this.